What's going on, guys? JPS back for another video, and today we will be reacting to how Sweden is becoming insanely rich. What do you Swedes have up your sleeves? Oh, I did not mean for that to rhyme, but it was cool. I've met a bunch of Swedes throughout my travels in Europe the past few summers, and they've all been super chill. But it seems like you guys have some other plans, getting some money. And it's not like Sweden was a poor country in my mind, or anyone's mind. Like, it's already a rich country, so insanely rich. What's going on here, you know? So let's get right into this, guys. Here we go.
On the 12th of January 2023, the Deputy Prime Minister of Sweden made an announcement about very exciting, enormously significant rocks.
This is really an important day for Sweden and for the whole of the European Union.
Sweden's public mining company, LKAB, revealed that one of their mines in the north had found something huge. Kiruna is the largest, most modern iron ore mine on the planet. It produces around 80% of all the iron ore mined in the EU.
The ore here in Kiruna contains more than just iron.
Rare earth metals have been called the quintessential symbol for the emerging, shifting global order. They power our technology, our militaries, and they are key in the transition to clean energy.
Today, the EU is way too dependent on other countries for these materials.
Until that day, Europe barely mined any rare earth metals. Sweden now found 1 million tons of them in the Peergeja deposit.
Damn.
This discovery stands to change Sweden and also the relationship between Europe and other world powers forever.
China supplies actually 98% of rare earths.
Another big jackpot for India.
Southern Africa's rare earth minerals.
Australia is the world's third largest producer of rare earths.
The United States has fallen behind in the production of critical rare earth minerals.
I did not think this video would be about rare earth minerals, but that is important. That is very important. Oh, so Sweden is on the come up then. Sheesh. Super rare.
Rare earth metals are a group of 17 elements: scandium, yttrium, and 15 lanthanides. You don't need to remember any of that though. To understand their importance, let's just look at a few examples. This is you. As you're enjoying the comfort of your home, you're interrupted by a notification. A set of miniature coils makes a paper-thin magnet vibrate, while another set of magnetic coils animate the diaphragm of your phone speaker to produce a sound that's loud and clear. To create such a small action, we need magnets created with the rare earth metal neodymium. Your favorite mukbang ASMR channel just released a new video, so you put on your headphones for maximum enjoyment. Your headphones too require neodymium. The video that you're watching comes to life on a screen that requires gadolinium, lithanium, and yttrium. What sounds like me and my imaginary friends playing D&D in my mom's basement every weekend actually allows you to see juicy, vivid colors without excessively draining the battery. The video is transmitted to you via a fiber optic cable, bringing ones and zeros over hundreds, maybe thousands of kilometers. To make sure the signal isn't lost over long distances, we require erbium-doped fiber amplifiers to boost the signal. Okay, you're done with your video, head outside and hail a cab. You're no peasant and go for the Uber Black. Its engine requires neodymium magnets to convert electricity into motion. The battery of the taxi has partially been charged by wind turbines or maybe even nuclear energy. The wind turbines require powerful magnets to convert motion into electricity using almost a full metric ton of, you guessed it, good old neodymium. Also,
Man, so neodymium and all these other rare metals, I guess you could call them, or whatever, like minerals, they are literally everywhere you look. Like, I'm looking at it right now, probably in this camera, this mic, computer, everything. So especially as society continues to move towards this electronic phase, we are going to become increasingly dependent on them. So everyone's gonna laugh. Oh, Sweden found some rocks. Like when this video first started, and they made an announcement about rocks. I was like, what? What are we talking about here? But now I'm starting to see like that is possibly more important than anything right now. This is crazy. So yeah, we're just always got rocks all over my head everywhere. Like, what is happening?
Around 180 kilograms of dysprosium. The reactor's control rods are laced with europium. The taxi goes to the airport where you board an aircraft that will take you straight to Ibiza. Super snake need you go. Parts of the aircraft's body are made from aluminium scandium alloy. Light, durable, and resistant to high temperatures. We could go on forever, but we won't for watch time. These examples barely scratch the surface of what rare earth metals are used for. But it should be clear, they are indispensable for our modern applications.
Facts.
Our modern lives. However, for all the benefits they provide, rare earths are sneaky and they hide well. Mining them commercially is difficult. You have to sieve through a lot of ore just to extract a little. What makes it even more complicated is that some countries have a lot of them and some a lot less. Europe imports around 98% of all of its rare earth metals from China. Even europium, which is used for anti-counterfeit watermarks on euro bills, comes entirely from China. All that is an enormous problem, and the main reason Peayaya is such a big deal.
Rocks for power.
In the 1980s, the then supreme leader of China, Deng Xiaoping, said, "The Middle East has oil, China has rare earth metals." By 2010, China had suffocated the competition and acquired an effective monopoly on rare earth elements, providing over 90% of the global supply. The country even bargained for exclusive mining rights in several African countries to further tighten its grip on the market. This is severely oversimplified, but often it kinda maybe went like this. "Ah, that's a sweet little mine you got there. I see your city lacks a train station. Also, that harbor looks kinda rusty. How about we help you out there free of charge, and you just give us those weird rocks?" This way, China got to control even more of the world's rare earth stock.
It's sad, but it's true. That's how it goes.
Extracting rare earth metals can be difficult. It requires a lot of resources and is often very polluting.
But what they don't talk about is the child laborers and things. I already knew about the mining cobalt in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where I believe there's also a lot of Chinese mines. And yes, they're just working these locals to death, basically. Terrible working conditions, just to have the monopoly, because Africa has a lot of natural resources that are very useful in today's world. So it's sad that they're the ones mining it, but they're not really getting any of the profit. Okay, we'll give you a train station, we'll fix up some of your infrastructure, but compared to the value of those natural resources, they're getting essentially nothing for it.
A lot of resources and is often very polluting. They can come with trace amounts of radioactive thorium and radium. You need these open air pools to separate the elements when you take them out of the earth. But that process can produce mountains of mildly radioactive waste. For example, here you have the Baogang Steel and Rare Earth Complex in Baotou, Inner Mongolia. Next to it, you can find a spectacular man-made lake. For decades, it has been used for rare earth tailings. Since then, it continuously contaminated the groundwater, with brutal consequences. There are numerous so-called cancer villages in the area. Today, most of the homes are abandoned. By practicing lenient, non-existent environmental policies, China was able to keep prices low enough to annihilate most of their competition. For decades, the country provided the world with a cheap and plentiful supply. In 2021, it controlled 2/3 of all mining, 85% of all refining, 90% of all extracted metal, and 93% of all magnets. But that monopoly also gave the country great political power. Since the late 2000s, China's export policies caused several massive price swings on the rare earth market. Some countries accused China of using rare earth exports as a political weapon.
The EU, US and Japan have asked the World Trade Organization to rule on a dispute with China over Beijing's restrictions on exports of raw materials.
A dispute over rare metals, which has been building for years, has come to a head.
In 2012, the US, EU and Japan even sued China over supposedly abusing its monopoly.
Now, if China would simply let the market work on its own, we'd have no objections. But their policies currently are preventing that from happening.
Especially the US was getting increasingly worried. You see, next to iPhones and wind turbines, rare earths are needed for something else: advanced weaponry. To produce a F-35 fighter jet, you need around 420 kilograms of rare earth elements. A Virginia-class nuclear submarine requires almost 10 times that amount. Many modern missile guidance systems need rare earth metals. So do night vision devices, communications equipment, navigation systems, stealth technology, drones, satellites, the list goes on. Basically, a modern army cannot function without them. Over several decades, China quietly built up the ability to choke the military capabilities of the countries it doesn't like. This is such a huge problem that in 2019, the US Department of Defense started investing tens of millions in commercial rare earth production for the first time since the Manhattan Project. And today, US allies are equally concerned. First and foremost, many EU countries. The West had a collective, stark realization. These are not merely minerals, they present a serious geopolitical risk. And this is where Sweden steps in to save the day. Per Geijer is the European Union's major breakthrough in reducing its dependency on China.
Watch out for China, bro. They're gonna try and swoop in and take that. Is anyone really surprised by China, like what China's doing? Of course they're gonna do that. It is dangerous though for one country to have that type of power and to be able to really control what you do with your military. And of course, United States, we take our defense and military way too seriously, in my opinion. There's so much money funded into that could be put into other places in our country, such as developing our infrastructure, roads, education system, healthcare system. Instead, we're worried about fighter jets and all this type of stuff because I guess China poses a threat. But I feel like China would beat us, bro. China is also, they're going to have a lot of stuff hidden. I think they're too far ahead. So is this Swedish mind going to change that? And is Sweden, like, how does that affect the United States? I don't.
Through in reducing its dependency
Maybe it
on
doesn't.
China. Per Geijer finally makes mining rare earth metals commercially viable on the European continent. The deposit knocks out multiple minerals with one bird. It is close to an existing mine, reducing the need to build entirely different infrastructure. Plus, it is filled with both iron and apatite. As opposed to having to seep through lots of useless rock, the deposit also gives you both of those in the process. Iron is nice, but apatite is even nicer. The mineral is a great source for phosphorus, another critical raw material that the EU currently has to import. According to the mining company, Per Geijer has at least 1 million tons of rare earth elements. To put that number in perspective, EU demand totaled just 1,400 tons in 2020. It is projected to reach 6,500 tons by the next decade and as much as 10,000 tons by 2050. These rather low numbers, however, do not account for the demand for already finished goods. For example, the EU currently imports 16,000 tons of magnets per year, which are made up of roughly 1/3 rare earth metals. It is not known which rare earth metals are in the mine exactly or how much it will ultimately cost to mine them, but it is certain that the deposit will be valuable. It will change things, both for the public Swedish mining company and also for the entire European continent.
Yeah.
Let's dare to look a decade or so into the future for a minute. Some of LKAB's biggest clients are European car manufacturers. Close to Kiruna, you can find new factories belonging to Volkswagen, Peugeot and others. Magnets made from Per Geijer rare earth metals fuel the transition from combustion to electric. Wind turbines lined up in the North Sea spin with Swedish neodymium-fueled magnets. China's political power over Europe in the arena of special rocks diminishes. Sweden is richer than ever.
Yeah. Shout out to Sweden.
As you can tell, rare earth elements are incredibly valuable. But what's even more useful is capitalizing on them by...
What's the ad, bro? Okay. Shout out to Sweden, guys. You're taking the control back from China. We need it. Can't let China get too far ahead. That's crazy, though. I wonder how they just said, oh, we're walking through this and, oh, there's a huge deposit of all this here. Like, how do you just find that? I mean, I know there's a lot of... Sweden has a lot of land that's probably not very easy to navigate throughout. Because you guys have some crazy landscapes out there, but that's whoever discovered that probably in shock. That is a complete game changer. So really interesting video, guys. We'll see what happens over the next few years. This will definitely change things for Europe and for, I guess, the West as well. Because, you know, as much as you guys hate the United States, which I understand, watch Trump will be like, oh, we don't need Swedish mines. We have our own in the United States. We're domestic, blah, blah, blah. No, like this is going to change things because as a collective, it is China who has a chokehold on these mines and these deposits and metals. So it's important for the market to shift and for it to be more evenly distributed throughout countries. So yeah, exciting stuff, guys. We'll see what happens. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.